Hi guys. So thanks for joining us today. I'm going to restart the applying for financial aid application presentation, as well as speak about the CSS profile and the International Student Financial Aid application, also known as ISFAA. So thank you again for dealing with earlier's technicalities. But hopefully this stream and presentation of it will help kind of make it a lot smoother and easier to understand. I thought I'd also go through kind of a live version and presentation of it. Okay, so in looking at the presentation and what's on offer, let me share the screen. So first of all, that you can see that. We don't necessarily need to be looking at editing. Okay. So essentially, what we're going to be going over today is kind of the steps of understanding the CSS profile and what to be aware of. So the CSS stands for the College Service Scholarship, and it's also on the website where you would find the College Board, where you register for your SATs and take the SAT. So it's on the College Board website. So when you go on the College Board website, you see the SAT, and then you'll also see the CSS offering. So CSS is used to apply for scholarships and programs offered by individual universities or schools. If you already have a College Board account, as I said before, this is what you would use in terms of the same information for login. The ISFAA, or also known as the International Student Financial Aid application, is an alternative to the CSS profile for international students. Now, international students, and what we'll see now is kind of the cost involved with submitting the CSS profile. I know the irony in paying money to submit something that's supposed to give you money, help you get money from a university. But essentially, the ISFAA is a paper-based form that some universities will accept in lieu of a CSS profile if you cannot afford to submit that application. So some of the session's goals that we'll be going over is understanding financial aid registration process, components of the CSS profile, content of each section of the CSS, and then also just some basic understanding of the ISFAA. The ISFAA and some helpful other documents will be on the Google Drive as provided by the link that you should have. I'll resend the link after today's presentation so that you are aware. I may also add it as a note in the comments for the YouTube video. Financial aid. At the undergraduate level, there are two types of aid that is awarded: need-aware and need-blind financial aid. So what one can see is that with regards to need-aware financial aid, is aid that's based on financial needs demonstrated in forms like the CSS profile and the ISFAA, or need-blind. So aid is based on your merit of getting into a university and not necessarily your financial status. So due to the intensity of competition, students with strong profiles will be considered for both. Need alone is not sufficient. Okay. So the required documents. So the CSS requires income and expenditure details of current, previous, and upcoming tax years. So essentially, it's going to look for your income tax statements, or IRP5s in South African context, from the 2017 year. So generally, like in the US, taxes are done on a calendar year basis, but however in South Africa they are not. So what will happen in this case is what we would do from a South African point of view is we would submit the information that was listed on our tax return that we have available. So that would be for the 2017 year that would have ended the 28th of February, 2018. So that is the information that you're going to be inputting into this. Okay. So whatever the latest tax return is that you have available, the information. Okay. So your tax statements and tax return information. Pay slips and bank statements will be used as well. Annual tax and other mandatory deductions from your salary. Savings, mutual funds, stocks and related summaries. Income statements of businesses owned, part holding in companies, utility bills. So this would be an estimate that you don't need to show proof of this, but estimate of annual utility, food, and medical bills, estimates of costs borne on education of the student that's applying as well as the siblings, and the estimates of the scholarships or the earnings of students, okay, of the actual student applicant. And I know in most cases, at least from a South African context, this is unlikely upfront. Okay, so this is the type of information or documents that you should have on hand next to you when you are preparing to do the CSS profile. You can have estimates for the 2018 year that we are currently in, and you can also have projected numbers, if you will, for 2019 that is upcoming. So how do you apply for financial aid? So what's at the school's discretion is potentially an additional institutional application. They may want to see copies of tax returns, and they may want to see non-custodial information. So if your parents are separated or divorced, they may want additional information to the parent that is not living with you, okay, or does not have primary custody of you, okay? Institutional formula is done using the Css Profile, okay, where or the ISFAA, let's say, where for some US citizens and permanent residents, and I know we have a few in our group, what you would then do on this case is have to do, in addition to the CSS profile, the FAFSA form. FAFSA does not apply to non-US citizens and non-permanent residents or green card holders. So you should not be required to fill out a FAFSA if you are not in one of those categories. Okay. So the CSS profile, there's 3 steps to the process. There's registration, and based on the registration that you do, and which I'll take you through, you are tailored to the student's family situation based on registration answers. So not one form is going to be like the other. Okay. On the other side, once you've done the registration, then you can complete the form as it's listed. So customized pre-application worksheet and instructions. There'll be online help on the side in yellow boxes. And the CSS profile also has smart features to minimize mistakes, which means it will not move on to the next section until you have corrected the mistakes that it picks up. Okay. Also, it will look at the date and the time that you've submitted. It will log that. Okay. So basically what the CSS profile covers is financial background on you as the student and your parents. There are quite a few questions, all of which pertain to sources of money available to you through various sources. These questions are important to answer honestly because your financial aid and college acceptance will be riding on them. It also helps you gain a comprehensive and reliable picture of each family's financial strength, and the universities will receive complete and accurate aid from, aid understanding so that they can give complete and accurate aid awards to a student and scholarship from scholarship programs, allowing you to enroll in a college of your choice. And hopefully based on your homework and picking the right fit university, you have done this correctly. So the downside of this application, of course, is the fact that they're going to charge you a $9 registration fee. $16 for each school that you want the profile submitted to. So if you just submit to one school, it's going to be $25 in total. And then each other school that you add on top of that, it's going to require you to basically add another $16 onto that. So that's why sometimes the ISFAA will be used, or, you know, if you tell a university, listen, I cannot afford the CSS profile, there's one of three things that can happen. They will either give you their own institutional document to complete, CAL does this, or they'll give you a code to fill out when you are in the payment section of the CSS profile. You'll put that code number in, and then that will be waived. Further, what will happen then is that you will be asked to, potentially what will happen is that you could be asked to do the paper ISFAA form to hand in instead as an international student. Okay. So again, a dynamic form, there's no standard form. Information provided at registration process defines the exact form that the student will eventually fill out. Example, so the form for a parent who is salaried and a parent who is a business owner will differ. College Board ID is required to register on the CSS profile, and the name, date of birth, address, contact details, citizenship, financial, and tax details are required for it. Students can select colleges and deadlines as they go along. So once you've registered, you can review, edit, and save your application if you want to come back and work it at a later stage. Okay. So the first thing is to sign on. So when you go into your College Board application, if you go to the top left-hand corner, you'll see a drop-down menu next to the black sign that says College Board. The drop-down, and you can pick CSS Profile on that, and then it'll bring you to this screen. You are applying for the fall 2019 or spring 2020 application, so that is what you'll fill out. So that yellow box is what you will click on. Okay, so I'm going to take away from the PowerPoint presentation, and we're going to go, on here, and then let's see, moving on to the main website. Okay. I'm going to take you with me, so let's share that. All right. So once I clicked on that, it's going to say it'll either take you to a registration page, okay, which should look something like this. All right. So here's when you go fill out your basic information. Okay. Right, so if you're ever unsure, you can see here you've got the yellow box. It says enter the student's telephone number as digits only. Do not use hyphens, dashes, parentheses, or a plus sign. Okay, so what I would do in this case is put 011 because they're dialing from the US. Okay, 27 71100 8177. So that's my phone number. Okay, so the 011 plus the country code, which is a 27, drop the 0, and then put the rest of your phone number in. Okay, let's see. Birthday, month first, then the day, okay, then the year. I'm making myself born in 2001. Okay, so in this case, you could say parents never married, married, or in domestic partnership, remarried, separated, divorced or no longer in a domestic partnership, or widowed. I'm going to go with divorce just so we can show kind of the different options that there are. So you can see then something else will, sorry, this is pertaining to the student. The parents come later. But you can see there, because I made a mistake, something popped up and said, this question is asking about the student's marital status. If you selected the parent's marital status, please revise. So you can kind of see where that smart dynamic form works with you. Okay, so never married, unless one of you hasn't told me something. If there's a College Board financial aid ID, you can input it there, but I do not believe any of you should have one. Then it's going to ask about the student's citizenship. Okay, so American citizens should put United States, but in most cases, from a South African point of view, you're going to put South Africa. Okay, citizenship status. Then what you can do, okay, is either say US citizen. Okay, sorry, excuse me. Country where the student lives. So most of you living in South Africa, you can either say you're a US citizen, US eligible non-citizen. So US eligible non-citizen would apply, and I think we do have at least 2 in our cohort who are green card holders. So in this instance, what you would select is a US eligible non-citizen. So essentially, you are eligible for financial aid because you're a green card holder. So it's basically for permanent residents, Canadian citizen, or other. So in this case, what I'm going to do is put other. Okay, select country of citizenship. This is where you put South Africa. Okay. And visa type, in most cases, you put F1. Okay. American citizens, put either that you're American or that you have a permanent resident, and then put, yeah, then that will be fine. You won't have to fill out this other information. Okay. You can go back to check if it does ask any other different questions. Yes, it asks for your social security number. So for my few social US citizens, this is where you input your social security number. Okay. The same thing would apply to green card holders, Canadian citizens. Okay. Other. So we've already gone through that. F, so your visa type, I would say F1, that's the one that you're hoping to get. Okay. The next page is going to be asking you about if you have any legal dependents, okay? Not including a spouse. I don't know that any of you are married, but I don't believe any of you have children. So in most cases, what you're going to say, the student that has children for whom the student provides more than 50% of support, you can read that in your own time if it makes sense. But what you are selecting here is that no, you don't have any dependents. Save and continue. This is when you're going to input your address. Okay, I've got saved here. Okay, you can say put in a mailing address if it's different, or if it's the same, you can keep it the same. Save and continue. Then it's going to confirm demographics. Okay, is this all correct? Check on it. All right. Then you're also going to click that this information is accurate and complete, just so that you are not. So this is your registration. Without this registration point, you're not going to be able to move on. Okay. Now that you've checked it's all okay, happy, okay, move on. So here, you input your parents' information. Okay. As you can see, you have options for step parents, legal guardians, and other. Okay. You can also select if they are around or no longer here. Okay. So this includes all parents, biological, adoptive, step parents, parents, partner, or legal guardians. So this information is used to help your schools understand your family situation and build your personalized application. It is critical that you are accurate and complete. If you answer incorrectly, you may have to change the information on this page after you have completed other sections of the application, and it may result in information that is considered invalid, or you'll have to re-enter information, which is never fun. If you need to add any step parents, you can click the Add Parent button. Okay. Household verification. So what is the marital status of your parents? So this is where you're going to input. Okay. So I'm going to put that they are divorced. Okay. So you can save and continue now. Okay. Select the parents the students lived with for most of the past year. If equal, select the parent who provided the most financial support. So maybe the person who is the breadwinner in most cases. So I'm going to say that in hypothetical reasoning, even though my parents are married and I've made them divorced now. But what I'm going to do is say that I live with my mother. Okay. Right. And then you see a box pops up. So if the student no longer lives with his or her parents, select the parent that the student most recently lived with. And if the parents were married at that time, select the parent that currently or most recently provided financial support. Okay. So select the parent whose information will be provided on this. So because I lived with my mother, I'm going to provide her information. Okay. You see another box pops up with some information. So if the student's biological or adoptive parents are no longer married, partnered, or living together, you must provide their information in separate applications. Select the one biological or adoptive parent whose information will be provided in this application. If that parent is married or is in domestic partnership, then select the parent's spouse partner and report information about him or her as well. Okay. What you can do, what's going to happen is if you have a non-custodial parent, there will be separate instructions on an application that you would need to fill out with their information. Okay. In some cases with the universities, though, you can request a waiver of the non-custodial parents' information if you honestly feel like you don't know where they are, you don't know how to get the information, they're not going to provide you the information. Yeah, you can do it. So country where the student's parents live. So because we're in our context, let's put South Africa. Okay, you see there, select the country in which the student's parents live. This should be their permanent address and can be different from where they receive their mail. If the country does not appear in this list, what ends up happening is that you cannot fill out the CSS profile and you're going to have to contact the universities on what to do next. Okay. The next section is about academic information. So essentially what you're going to be here is completing information about what you plan to do, what your plans are for when you are supposed to start university. So as we know, because the academic year is run differently, essentially you are putting in information in plan for you to start your first year of university in the 2019-2020 academic year. Okay. But your current academic year, because you are still technically in high school, you are in grade 12, even though it's only for 2018, just keep it for the 2018-2019 year. Don't complicate issues. You are in grade 12. Okay. Select grade 12, save and continue. Please use school search to find the name of the high school for 2018. So what you'll see here, okay, is that in most cases, you're not going to be able to find it. So go to high school search, select from the drop down, type in look for South Africa. Oh, wait, there isn't. There's only states. So, oh dear, what am I going to do? What you're going to say is, and follow the instructions, please use the fields below to determine which high school you attend. If the student is international, only search by school name. So let's say, African leadership. Okay, let's look for high school search. Type it in. If your school is listed, so you see here it says African Leadership Academy. Let's say I went to African Leadership Academy, I could choose that. If I'm homeschooled, you select homeschooled, or if you can't find it, and in most cases this will be the case, you select not listed. Select school, move on. If the student attended a private school, how much did he or she receive for scholarships for the academic year? Now, what I would do is just put this in rand amounts. Okay, every number that you input into the system is rand amounts. They're only going to ask you for your currency, as you see on the next section, but let's just keep it easy for them. So if the student attended a private high school, and some of you have, or Model C school, how much have you received in scholarships or grants for 2018-2019 academic year? So I'm going to pretend that I received 25,000 rand, okay, and I still had to pay my parents. I had to pay 15,000. Okay, maybe I'm making it look like I'm at a Model C school. I know private schools are a lot more expensive, but we're just doing hypothetically. So you can see there in the yellow box that tells you what not to do. So do not answer if the student did not attend a private high school. Okay, all right. But in Model C, I think it's important to put that here. Only report the money that the student's parents paid for. So tuition fees, books, supplies, housing, and meals. Do not include fees that the parents paid for. So extramural activities such as sports, band, or theatre. And do not include money that the student's parents borrowed for the student's education. So you're not putting loan information here. Okay. Moving on. So now this is where you select your universities. So let's search them, and you either have a choice to if you know their CSS code, you can search by CSS code number, the state, or the college name and program. Okay, so let's put Harvard. Search. Okay, there it is. So you'll see here, you're going to start seeing the name of the university, their code number, and then what they are for domestic applicants. So that's American citizens and green card holders. So accepts the CSS profile. Okay. And for international undergraduate application, it accepts it too. So you can select Harvard. You might see in some cases for universities, excuse staying here after work. Okay. Okay, so essentially here what you have is the they may not accept CSS for an international student, which means it might be a university that strictly has merit scholarships, so they're not going to look at your financial need basis as to accept you. So that's quite important to look at, and I know that can be in the case with if you have Fordham on your list, Fairfield, let's say, I think some of the Colorado schools, so just to be aware of that. Okay. Apologies, I just had to let the Marines know kindly that I was staying. Okay, moving back to where we were. Okay, so you've done that. Let's pick some more. So again, let's pick Whitworth. Okay, so as you can see, it accepts from entering and transfer students. So yeah, it's interesting, but it doesn't accept for domestic. Very interesting difference to everything. Okay, and let's add one more for good luck. Vanderbilt. So also make sure that you're picking the right one. Like you're not applying to the law school or School of Medicine. You're picking the undergraduate school. So undergraduate applicants, okay? So if you're going to do early application, early action, what you may do is only put that early action or early decision at university on first, because you don't want to pay for more universities that you need to apply to. So that's okay, and you can see you can subtract them, and then you can also add universities later. So don't worry about that, and pay for them when you're ready. But let's just say, for instance, sake, I'm picking all three. And on the next screen, what's going to end up happening is that you are going to be taken to a screen that shows you to kind of pick your information in particular for the universities themselves. So what are you going to be in the 2019, 2020, and 2020 year? 2020 sounds, yeah, just going to get my tongue around that. But essentially what you're doing is first year undergraduate, never previously attended. Okay, you'll see how they have different options, because what will happen in some cases is that you're going to have to redo this each year to make sure that you get your financial aid. But for this purposes, we're selecting first year undergraduate, never previously attended. Okay, if you were assigned a Harvard College ID, you would input it here. Housing plan on campus. Okay, but you can see there you can choose off campus with parents and relatives. But in most cases for you guys, it will be on campus. Unless on rare occasion and otherwise. And then what are you playing? Early action. Okay, there is an early decision to Harvard. You should know that. That's why you'll see the box that says if you're unsure, go to the website. Okay, let's say you're doing first year undergraduate, and what I'm doing is anticipating that I may not get into Vanderbilt, because I know Vanderbilt has an early decision 2 deadline. Which is in January. So yeah, we can kind of do that. And then let's say for this one, I'm doing on campus, but I'm going to do regular decision. I'm just showing you what this is for later. You can see what the different options end up showing on your dashboard screen. All right, so this is very important. So select the currency you will use to complete this application. So don't complicate it yourself for having to fill out conversions. Just go to South African Rand. Okay. So as the box says, if your primary currency is not US dollars, do not convert your responses. Select your primary currency and complete your application in the currency you selected. Next, okay, so it says next section includes questions about parents, their education, and their employment. You'll need to know their dates of birth, the contact information, basic employment information, and the type of retirement plans that they participate in. Okay. So it says for Jane because that's who I selected as a person. So let's do birthday. I'm not going to give a real birthday. Okay. I'm just going to put another email address because I'm not going to put hers. She'll be very worried about what I'm doing. 0112779112876. Highest level completed. You can say college or beyond or other, if like maybe they did a national diploma or something. Actually, I'm going to do that. Other occupation, I'm going to say nurse. In the armed forces, no. I don't know, let's put Medi-Clinic Morningside. So I'm making everything up here, but it's for, okay, number of years, let's say 20, and then IRA, Cure 401k 43 or other tax deferred retirement plan. Okay, so you can put that, so you can click on that, or you plan to draw on Social Security upon requirement. So if your country has Social Security, like in France or like in the US, you can click that. You have an employer-sponsored retirement plan, which is the most case in South Africa, is the more common one. You can select that. Let's select IRA, whatever, and then you can basically put in what the current amount is on that. So I'm going to put 800,000 Rand, just for interest sake. Okay. Then it's going to ask about your other parent. So I'm going to make him live. I don't know what I'm going to make him live in. Let's put 3 Bead Road, Johannesburg. I'm going to make his employer International SOS. So you see here year of separation. So if the actual year is in doubt, report the year that best represents the year they separated. If not, a legal separation agreement, enter the date that they stopped living together. If they never lived together, enter the year that you as a student was born. Okay, so I'm going to put 2013 for interest sake, and then you put the year of divorce, so leave blank if the students were never married. So I'm going to put they got divorced in 2015. Okay, how much will this parent contribute to the student's financial costs for the 20? So this is how much are they willing to put towards your college education. So I know in some cases it's not anything, so you can put 0. Okay, is there agreement specifying this contribution? If there's a court order, you can say yes or no, or if there's written information between you, basically between you and the parents, you can put that in there. Sorry. So I'm going to say no. And then if you want to put any explanation on it, you can. Okay. So it asks you to input their information. So I'm going to do my state email address. We had somebody else get it. So the next section will ask about the student's parents' income, and you'll need their 2017 federal tax return and their W-2 form. So whatever tax return that they've submitted, and W-2 is equivalent to an IRP-5 from each of their employers. So that's what you would do. So latest tax return that they've submitted or submitting, and a W-2 form. or IRP 5 in South Africa's case, okay, with all the information about income and deductions. So select the student's parent federal tax return, completed current tax return, estimated current tax return, will file, not filed, and not required to file a tax return. Okay, so you can select. So basically, you're inputting anything for a tax year that ended before April 1st, 2018. Okay, so if you haven't done it yet, even the deadline's at the end of the month, okay, maybe put that there, or put completed tax return. Reminding me, I've got to check that mine's all squared away. Parents type, you're going to put, you see you've got the US choices here with the 1040s. But in most cases, what you're going to choose is either non-US tax return. Okay, so enter the following amounts for the parents' income for the 2017 year. Okay, so this will be up until the 28th of, so from the 1st of March 2017 to February 28th, 2018. Okay, so wages, salaries, commissions, and tips. Okay, into the numbers only. Okay, income from work. Okay, so includes wages, salaries, commissions, and tips. Okay, include all income whether reported on earning statements or not. Okay, interest income. So interest is money earned by deposited funds. Okay. Then I'm going to have to put numbers. So interest is money earned on deposited funds such as savings account. Okay. Dividend income are payments made by a corporation to shareholders from its profits. Okay. Net income from businesses or partnerships. Okay. If it so applies. Net income from rental, real estate, royalties, estates, or trusts. Remember, this is of the parent, which is going to be, like in this case, Jane, my mother. Okay. Net income from farms. You're going to see farms are very popular on this. Okay. Pension, annuity, or retirement distributions received. Okay. Haven't received. Income received from other family members. Tax credits received. And all taxes, mandatory withholdings, and set aside set asides paid or withheld, including income taxes, state taxes, local taxes, levies, and mandatory payments. Okay. Itemize the sources and amounts for the taxes and withholding amounts entered above. And say income tax. Okay. Income from other members in the household. Okay, so report money given to the student's parents or paid on their behalf for household expenses such as food, electricity, etc. by other people who live within their household. Do not include money provided by the student, okay, the student's spouse or parents, or income reported elsewhere on this application. Okay. So if like a company pays maybe, or like you have other family members helping out. Okay. But you'll see there will always be a list of like what it could be. on the right-hand side in the yellow box. Okay, so income and benefits. So again, you might have to re-input information. Okay. Okay, and as you can see, there's always a list of information that is input here. Okay, like when it talks about taxable income, including interest, debited income, students' parents expect to report on their 28. So this is what you expect for 2018. Okay, maybe we'll make it sound like she got an increase. Okay. Then you also, and you might have a good estimate because let's be honest. So you are pretty much in October. You could probably estimate with fair accuracy what the income will be for the 2018 year. Okay. And then you can try and do the same for 2019. Okay. Remember, it's always going to list everything as best as possible. So remember, you've already put in 2017 information. Now you're estimating for 2018, and then you're going to estimate for 2019. Child support. So the questions in the section are about child support this household pays to another household or receives from another parent. So this instance says we're going to receive it from David, my father. So you should answer the questions about the parents in this household, including the student's step parent, if there is one. Okay. So let's say mom has remarried and there's a step parent and they are paying child support, and you have to include that. So let's just say no. Did the student's parents pay or expect to pay child support in 2017, 2018? No. Did the parents receive child support in 2017? You can say yes. Okay, maybe they gave a small sum towards whatever, schooling. So then it's going to ask you questions. So total amount received. So let's see, I received 5,000 Rand for schooling. Okay. Maybe let's make it 10,000 for everything like living support. So interannual, not monthly amounts of child support received or expected to be received do not include foster care or adoption payments. Okay, so amount for the student, we say, okay, no, it's for the full 10,000. And what some or all the support student court order, you can say, like, did a court order them to pay it? Yes or no? So other child support received, how much was court ordered? Let's say 9,000. And when will it end? Okay. It's going to end in 2019, November. Okay. Because I turn 18. Household information. So this is where they're going to ask about your parents' information. So I'm just going to keep it the same. It might be different. And let's say if you're not living with them. So provide the following information about the student's home. So is it owned? Okay. Rented? Do you live with others, or is housing provided by the employer? So some expat case, that might be what happens. Live with others. So I'm going to say they own. So if you say live with others, if the student's family lives with family or friends and does not pay rent. Okay. So let's say own home. And then it's going to ask how much you pay a month. Okay. That's 9. So you can see there when they say amount owed, do not include interest due, escrow payments, insurance premiums, because there's going to be separate section for that, association fees, property taxes, personal loans, consumer loans, or any other debts. If the student's parents are not the sole owners of the home, give only their share of the debt. So always make sure you're reading the instructions on the yellow panel. It's really going to help. So this is going to be about parents' assets. So basically, you're going to be asked questions about the student's parents. So to begin with, we'll ask the types of assets owned. Then you'll provide current value of each asset. Statements from a bank or financial institution may be useful for this section. So if you want to get that all squared away. But remember, provide the value of each asset as of today rather than the average or original values. This section is entirely about assets that belong to the student's parents, not the student. There will be another section for that. Okay, so investments. So investments do not include the parent's home, business, farm, real estate, or retirement plans. Investments do include, however, stocks and stock options, bonds, savings bonds, mutual funds, money market funds, certificates of deposit, 5 to 9 college savings or prepaid tuition plans, okay, other college saving plans, non-qualified non-retirement annuities, trust funds, commodities, precious and strategic metals, installment and land scale contracts, including seller finance mortgages and other valuables, okay? You can put yes. Own assets held in the children's names, like let's say an asset owned by a sibling in his or her name should not be reported on this application. For example, a checking account owned by the student's sibling, don't put that in. But select yes if there's if there are parent assets that are held in the dependent's name, are owned by the parents, such as funds in custodial accounts or UGMA's equivalent, so uniform gift to minor accounts, much like the 529, or other savings and investment accounts for the applicant's siblings, okay? Not necessarily the applicant, okay? Let's take no. Own valuables. So this will be jewelry, artwork, precious metals, and antiques. So report today's market value of these assets, not purchase price. Itemize these items and value in the special circumstances section at the end of the application. Okay. Do you owe others money? Say yes. Okay. So that could be like credit cards and that sort of thing. Or others owe you money, sorry. Like you've loaned money out to family members as like a personal loan almost. Okay. Parents' asset details. So current amount in cash, savings, checking, or deposit accounts. So you should have this based on bank statements. Enter the total value of today. Do not average balances. So look at what it is as you're filling this out. Okay. So I'm going to say altogether, I probably got 40. Okay. So current market value of investments. So do not include your home, business, farm, real estate, or retirement plans. If asset is jointly owned with someone, enter only your portion. And again, it tells you what the market is. Okay, so amount of money owed to parents by others. Let's say somebody owes you some money. Okay, amount of money owed, amount expect to be repaid by others this year, maybe put 0. Current value of jewelry, I don't know, art. Okay, you can itemize this later. Select statements below that apply to each of the parents. Own real estate or second home. You can say yes or no. I'm going to select yes so you can see, have seasonal, vacational, rental property, rent real estate to others, maybe, or you maybe rent out a portion. So let's say you got one other. Okay. So they're going to ask for the street address. So you can see now, well, they're going to do a bit of more investment on it. Maybe we can say making stuff up, really. Number of months per year this property is rented out to others. Let's say 12. When was it? Let's put always follow along with what they say on this, okay? In terms of what the yellow boxes ask you to do, okay? So own operate a business, you can put that information in, or own and operate business in addition to work, okay? So I'm going to ask you how much you own, and then it's obviously going to ask information about those businesses on the next screen, okay? Own part in a farm. Okay, so I'm just going to put one. Okay. Just so we can see what they look like for interest's sake. Okay. So you're going to ask the name of the business. So let's say Iron Board Covers 123 ABC Street. Type of business, sole proprietorship, partnership, or corporation. Again, listing kind of definitions for them. I'd say ironing board covers. Name of parent or owner, say Jane Owen. Say 70%. The other family members own this business. It can be student sibling steps onto, put in as you will. No, so basically just putting in all information. Okay. So let's say debts. I'm really making up numbers here just for interest's sake. The family members, if somebody else works. I'm gonna put no just to save. Okay. And you can add items as you go along. I don't know. Tier view. 432 CBA road. Wine production. I don't know. No. .5 acres. I don't even know. Small, let's say. So market value is the price the farm could be sold for today. Okay. Let's say so do the students' parents have any following expenses? Check what medical or dental expenses for not covered by insurance. You can click on there. Repayment, or like insurance meaning like not covered by medical aid. Repayment of student college loan debts in 2017 and 2018, let's say. Okay, so if it was for medical expenses, you could input that there. Input where necessary and follow the yellow box's instructions. Okay. Okay, so here you're going to put estimates of what you put in 2017. You might have exact amounts if you know, parents keep strict budgets and they have, you know, full understanding. You know, so just to kind of do that, be sure to put that in. You know. And you see the information is always listed here. Okay. The difference between groceries and like household necessities. Okay. Remember, this is annual amounts, not monthly amounts. Okay. So this is where the property insurance comes in. So include insurance paid on homes, cars, and personal properties. Okay. So provide so amount paid by your family to the people employed in the home. Zero. Okay, amount paid for any other expenses not listed above. So you can put whatever you feel to choose there. Okay. Almost there, guys. Please bear with me. Okay. So now it's going to ask if there's any other family members. So you can see I kind of was saying all about a sibling. So let's just add a sibling. Okay. So I'm going to say Meredith, Owen. Let's do 062 29 1999. Relationship to you, so you're going to say sibling, okay? But you can see you have choices for grandparents, step siblings, a spouse, a child of you as the individual, or an other, okay? I don't know, like a cousin or something, okay? I know a lot of you have other relations living. So provide for 2018-2019 academic year, what is the person's year in school? So I'm going to say that they are in their second year of university. What are they going to be in this? Let's say third year of university. Continue. South Africa A. Total cost, let's say, I'm really making up numbers. Okay, let's say they got this. So it says here, don't include amounts borrowed, right? So it tends full-time, just say 4-year public university. Again, South Africa A. Cost to attend the school, let's make it 65. Okay. And we'll make it 27. Okay, student income. So you're going to see in this case, it's going to be relation to the student. And in most cases, it's just going to put like, no, it does not apply. They haven't filed. They don't need to file. And the amounts are going to be 0. But if you did work or you did earn income, then you will need to take this into consideration, especially if you do have IRP5s or tax documentation that supports that. So I'm just going to make this easy and put 0. Okay. You might need to show support, like why you're not filing. So what I would do is just upload a letter that kind of explains that. Okay. So summer income, if they have summer income, if they're going to work next summer, okay, maybe, I don't know, let's maybe you make 6,000 Rand. Okay, earnings at school expected. Well, you're like, I don't know. I mean, I might work federal, but you don't know that. Okay. You don't know that you're going to get a job on campus, so don't put anything you don't know about. Students expected other tax income, just put 0. Students expected tax income there, because maybe you don't make enough to be taxed. Okay. Students expected total untaxed for the school year. You really don't know. Okay. Maybe you should have put 6,000 in there. Sorry. Now, how much of the student expect to receive as following sources to pay for educational expenses? So let's say your parents are now going to put something together. Okay, I'm going to say 80,000 Rand. I'm really making up numbers. Maybe some uncle's going to help out with another 10,000 Rand. Okay, scholarships. So scholarships grants will receive from sources other than colleges or universities. So if like perhaps, there's someone who's going to help out, you may offer me some money, but make sure you always read the yellow boxes. But in most cases, you're probably going to put 0 and employers. So tuition benefits that your parents might receive from the employer, or you might get from an employer. Okay. So will the student receive funds from the government for college expenses at any point during attendance? Most cases you're going to say no. Will the student receive funds from any agencies or foundations any point during attendance? No. Will the student receive tuition benefits during the year of attendance? Like from employers, you can say that. Okay, and how will the students pay for it? So parents' income, savings, your income, gifts from other relatives, scholarship or grants. So opportunity students could say scholarship or grants or agency foundation funds, okay, or sponsor funds, okay. Um, I'm going to put government funds so that because we are US government. Okay. So this is what you're going to put. So if you have a trust from your family, you can put that in. Do you have any retirement assets already? Or if you have any investments, okay? And remember, the yellow boxes are always going to explain it to you. Current, let's say maybe you've been collecting money from family over the years. Okay. Do you own anything like a business or a farm or anything of that nature? Okay. So special circumstances. So select circumstances with ongoing financial impact and how they apply to your family. So provide details in the box below. So if you know that, okay, maybe something has happened over 2018 that hasn't really been clarified much in the application, or you know that next year someone's going to retire, or you're going to be taking care of an elderly family member, or you have a massive expense that needs to be taken care of, maybe someone needs some surgery that was not planned, or someone's going to lose their job or we go to reduced hours, or is going to get, there's a bunch of different information. So you can input that here or other. So you literally have 2,000 characters of information that you can put in here, and you can input that there. If you feel like this is not information and you need to provide it more, you need to please send this directly to colleges and universities. Okay. All right. I'm going to put that for now. Okay. So you'll see here, what will happen is you will come to a screen with supplemental questions. Now, this is when universities want to know a little bit more information for you. And you can see Harvard is the one who's requesting this information. Okay. So does either of the students' parents receive free housing or food as a job benefit? Okay. Okay. You can say it does not apply. Okay. But if you do receive it, you should be putting it, they will tell you when, if you haven't inputted already, that you're going to need to go back and add that amount to the income. Okay, so you always know. So enter cash value, not death benefit or surrender value of parents' life insurance, so on and so forth. So really just go through it as important. Is any person in your family a beneficiary of a trust? You can say it does not apply. If any person in your family is, total number of beneficiaries, I don't know, just If it does not apply, it does not. Does either parent hold an interest in a corporation? Just follow instructions as you go. What do they offer? List for each venture reported, give the name and the amount of investment and the ownership. Okay, so put your info in. Okay, 70%, whatever. Do your parents have interest in any assets held in another person's name, including relatives? You can say yes, no, does not apply. Name the relative. Okay, if it is. Your parents have money, property, or assets in another country, into the total value of those. So if you have any, unknown houses in Italy or something, this is when you should declare it. Okay. Okay, if assets are reported, list the assets and the countries in which they are held. Okay. Into the number of vehicles owned and operated or leased by your family. Okay. Let's just say Toyota Yaris 2011. Okay. And so are any of the investments reported by the student's parents in the parent asset section form part of a, you can say no or yes or whatever. Okay. But answer as honestly as possible, and you can see why it's so vital to have parents complete this rather than the student. Okay. Okay, if you receive basically UIF or any sort of compensation for work off. Okay. So here's money, like the total, let's say. Okay. All right. So you can see here again, they're going to ask you, they're going to take you through if your mother has remarried. They're going to ask if the father has remarried. They want to know all this information. So you input where necessarily. If you don't think it's important, just leave it blank. Or if it does not apply, just leave it blank. Because as you can say, there's nothing that they absolutely require here. Okay. It's going to ask how many siblings are in university, those sorts of things. So you can see Harvard's quite thorough, and the reason why Harvard's quite thorough is because they offer more above the norm in terms of scholarship aid. So they're going to be quite thorough in making sure that they get everything that you need, and they have a clear picture of everything. Okay. Yeah. So you can see it data. So the following information provided in the application has been identified as possibly incorrect. If the information provided should be changed, please click the next message to return to the section and update. So warning, the same value of cash investments were reported for both student and the parents. Please review your responses to make sure that the same answer was not provided for both the parent and student questions. Click the link, say student savings, other assets to update this information. Okay. Well, I just put the same amount because I put the same amount, like they each have their own savings. But you can see how the smart kind of dynamic form picks up on possible errors. Okay, so what will happen now is you've got your form. It's going to list out each section. You can go through it and review. If there's anything else you want to change, you can go back and change it, and it will allow you to change it. Okay. So let's say you're reviewing it, going through, happy with all the information that's listed. Okay, you've confirmed all the information. Okay. Okay, you can print the form for your records, which I highly recommend, and you can press save and continue. Read the certification just so that you make sure what you're getting into, and that you basically giving proof, and you will give proof of income and statements as they are asked from the universities, and that you will report any significant changes to the universities as well. Okay. Right, then what will happen is that they'll list the universities, and you can see you can either pay by credit card or debit card, or put the free access code in. Okay. If not, what you can do is go back to your dashboard if you're not ready to submit just yet. Okay. And what you will see, and when you next log in, you can put your other parent's email address to make sure that they get this information. Okay, if you feel like they haven't got their link to complete their part of their Css profile. You will also see here now is in terms of submission dates, priority filing on when it's due. So the question mark will always say, so your application will be considered on time if you submit the Css profile by midnight Eastern time of the US of your earliest priority filing date. If the date is not displayed, check the college's or program's websites, which you can look when you say click the details, okay, for more materials. Generally, what will happen as a result of this is that you will find out when you've been accepted or not. Like that's the date that they will let you know by, on or before that date. Okay. Now you can see that because you have a CBFN financial aid ID. So when you have your parent go on, the non-custodial parent, they'll be submitting that ID information in, okay, when they are completing their form. All right, if you want to go back and change anything, you can see your progress, go back and continue application, or fix information that you need to fix. Okay, so going back to Css Profile, right? Just understanding what's needed. Just in terms of the ISFAA, this is a paper-based form which I'll put in the Google Drive, but I'll also email it out just for ease of reference. But again, it's going to be asking for the same extremely detailed financial aid information, maybe a little bit less detailed than the Css profile. Assets and income will need to be declared and well documented. And you should be sending this at least 1 month before, at least a month before the deadline, and it comprises of 7 sections. So I'll send this document, so the official one for the 2019-2020 academic year. But what I'm also going to give you is a handout that I've done on kind of how to go through each of the 7 sections and what to input there. Okay, but essentially it's asking for student information, parent information, financial information, asset information, expenses, expected support for educational expenses, and then your explanations and special circumstances. Okay, some tips for the Css profile: save often if you can, log out after each section, use a word processor to type your writing samples, like for special circumstances, print copies for your records, use print previews so that you can look at how it looks before submitting, much like you would with the Common App. Okay. So moving on that side of things, we are pretty much done on that. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. so you're not having to deal with all those issues. And now you can see that it's dark outside when it was light outside previously. So thank you, and again, apologies for the glitches that we had with the system today during the session, but I hope that this will be useful. Actually, it might be more useful because I actually went through each section one by one as we went through it. But again, appreciate your time and efforts. It is a long process, it is a long form, so hopefully that this presentation you can use to go through each section. But any questions you have, let me know. I'll do my best to help you. And parents, all ears. And what I wanted to say is, if all the students have my personal cell phone number now, so if you need me to speak to you on that, please ask them to give it to you. Otherwise, email me. I'm happy to provide it, just in cases where work phone doesn't work. Anyway, good luck. I know there's a lot of ceremonies this next week, couple weeks, and exams and studying and SATs and applications. If you haven't submitted essays, please submit essays now. If you have and somehow I've missed it, let me know, just so that we can make sure that we get everything into you ASAP. Okay, thanks. Good night.